So, you probably don't actually want to watch this video. You probably don't actually want to see these games. But personally, I'm very curious to find out exactly what ended up going down between these two pro players. So here's the situation. This best of 7 series is the grand finals of TSL 8, the Team Liquid Star League, which is a premier tournament, meaning that it's in the highest category of Starcraft tournaments, that wrapped up last Sunday. Now, after this series was played, and apparently it's a really fast one, after this series was played, people called it the worst grand finals of all time. So obviously, on this YouTube channel, I've been, well, in a way, I've been spoiling a lot of you guys as well because I've been casting the best of the best games. Because I obviously don't cover full tournaments right here on the channel, I get to pick and choose what I actually want to post. And I've been posting very good games of top-level StarCraft 2, especially over the last couple of months. The skill level just keeps climbing, and the games seem to be getting better and better and better all the time. Today, though, apparently, we have the exact opposite of that. So spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad. That's game number 1 in this best of 7 series. I really want to find out exactly what ended up going down. But anyways, with the blue Zerg drones from South Korea, we have none other than Rogue. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Zerg drones from Finland. People call him the greatest of all time. Of course, that means we have none other than Serral. Originally, actually, I wasn't going to post a video today at all. I've been doing this crazy thing, okay? Today is actually a bit of a crazy day for me. It's a Wednesday. Generally speaking, I only take Sundays off, but recently I've been thinking about maybe it's a good idea to not just be at the computer all day, every day. So I'm gonna do this cast, I'm gonna like edit the video, I'm gonna upload it, and then, you know, I'm heading off of the computer again. But recently, I've got the feeling that I may have been overdoing it a little bit. Either way, wasn't gonna originally post a video, but I'm so curious. I was gonna just watch the replays, and I figured, you know what, if I'm gonna watch the replays, I may as well just go ahead and cast the games, right? Because maybe some of you are also morbidly curious. Let's leave it at that. This is morbid curiosity for StarCraft 2 games. Anyways, it's Zerg versus Zerg. As you might be aware, Rogue, in his lifetime, I actually don't know what the exact number is, but he has lost either 1 or 2 best of 7 series ever. So the man has been participating at the top level of StarCraft 2 for a very long time, and he doesn't really lose grand finals. Generally speaking, whenever Rogue makes it to the grand finals, it's a safe bet to assume that he also ends up winning it. Plus, on top of that, as you may have already noticed on the scoreboard, he's currently 1-0 ahead. The reason for that is because TSL 8 uses a double elimination bracket, meaning that when you get eliminated out of the top part of the bracket, you don't get eliminated out of the tournament. However, you drop down towards the lower bracket and you get like a second life, so to say. Since Rogue comes from the upper bracket to the grand finals, they want to give him an advantage. So there have been a couple of different mechanics that we've used in StarCraft 2 over the years. You know, Serral comes from the lower bracket, meaning that he had already lost the series in this tournament. Actually, I believe he ended up losing to Rogue earlier on. So I'm not actually 100% sure about that. But anyways, yeah, so because of that, they gave Rogue an advantage because he hasn't actually lost the series yet in this event, meaning that he only needs to win 3 games right now. Anyways, it's a speedling all-in right now. We've got a little bit of mineral mining here. Serral's gonna make a full wall off with evolution chambers at the front. Since he did skip his own Zerging speed early on, though, he's not really gonna have that much here available. Instead, he decides to make the Great Wall. Fair enough. Brenda over here is gonna be part of the wall off as well, which might not be ideal, but every once in a while, this can actually work out in your favor. An additional Evo chamber will be coming up. Nice queen shoveling right here by the finisher. There's just more and more Zerglings coming across. Serral here was banking on the fact that these Zerglings would probably back off when they saw all of the queens. So 5 drones have gone down so far, but there's more links on the back of this. Rogue going for the easiest build order in all of StarCraft 2. Oh my god, Serral wanted to recreate the wall. Barely mispositioned that first structure. Game number 1 goes in favor... Well, I read this as Gruge. Game number 1 goes in favor of DP Gruge. Alrighty, so here we go. Game number 2, we find ourselves on 2,000 atmospheres. Rogue going for a proper Gold League build in game number 1. Genuinely. It's one of those build orders, right? So what I love about Rogue is that he plays build orders that are technically inefficient, right? So most of the StarCraft 2 pros, they play their best strategy over and over and over again. And Serral really is a good example of that. Generally speaking, Serral likes to go for what he has practiced and what he deems to be the strongest strategy in StarCraft 2, right? You've seen him do similar build orders many times, and while he does like to deviate these days as well, especially like a year or two ago, you could really critique him almost on being just a little bit too predictable. right? He would do the same strats over and over and over again, and since he did them better than anyone else, generally speaking, he ended up winning. However, Rogue, he doesn't care about playing builds that are technically inferior, because genuinely, right, the previous build, I mean, that was just a full-on 2-base Zergling all-in, where you hide the Zerglings and then run across the map. It's a build order that I could probably teach my mom. Okay, maybe not, but, you know, it's really not a very complex build order, but because Rogue knows that he's playing a Grand Finals, and he knows that his opponent knows that he's playing a Grand Finals, and he also knows that his opponent knows that he likes to play greedy, therefore, there might be some corners cut on the other side of the map. He's gonna try and abuse that, and obviously, you would imagine that if it was like a, maybe like a, you know, like if we talk about mathematical terms, maybe that build order had like a 30% win rate there for Rogue. Since it's in a tournament Grand Finals, there's a good chance that the opponent is cutting corners as well, which is what Serral was doing, right? Delaying the gases, skipping the bailing nest, doing basically everything as greedy as possible. Yeah, it ended up working there, which is, it's kind of cool. It's definitely not what Rogue is playing, okay? When Rogue goes on the Starcraft 2 ladder, I don't actually think he plays a whole lot of ladder, but when he goes on the StarCraft 2 ladder, that is definitely not the build that he's playing and practicing. That's a build that he's probably tried back in like 2012. He learned how to do it, and then every once in a while right now he mixes it in a tournament. Obviously, if that would have been an easy hold there for Serral, it would have made him look a little silly. But right now, it's going to put Serral on edge, right? It's going to put Serral at the very least a little bit on edge, because he's playing against a madman. He's not afraid to apparently just whip out a crazy build order and go for a technically inferior strat that just so happens to counter the one that Serral was going for. Anyways, so, what do we have? Serral opening up. Okay, hatch gas pool, leaving 2 in the gas geyser. He's probably gonna go for a third base pretty soon, and then a bailing nest as a follow-up, right? This is the standard build order in Zerg versus Zerg. So already, I mean, it's the standard for a reason, but you can imagine that maybe Rogue is just a little bit inside of the finisher's head right now. He's like, okay, if you're gonna play mad build orders, there's the bailing nest. I'll just play the safest possible build. This is the build order that Serral will play 9 times out of 10 when he's laddering. Probably 10 times out of 10, actually, since it's Serral. Anyways, so far, build order is pretty much identical. You can kind of see some very small deviations. So Serral going for a more defensive approach. Opening up with a extra queen over here and getting an additional drone as well. Whereas Rogue, he's adding on some drones. Okay. Hiding a Roach Warren in the back of the Natural Expo. Serral will probably try to run these Zerglings in once link speed is done. Link speed is still a little bit away, though. I wouldn't be surprised, at least, if he decides to try and, at the very least, get some sort of scouting in. Because it's important that you figure out if your opponent is hiding a Roach Warren. So, Rogue has already added drones back into the gas geyser. He did go for the bailing nest. He's now even faking an Evo chamber. I don't think he wants to go for a push. Or, sorry, for, like, you know, a macro build. Oh, my God. Serral scouted the Evo chamber. Saw the timing of it. He probably thinks, okay, everything is, you know, as it should be. Whereas Rogue has already cut unit production here for a while. Roach Warren is done. Now he's pumping out 7 roaches all at once. And he's probably going to follow up with pure Zergling. And guess what? He still has that bailing nest. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he just morphs in a couple of banelings here on the other side of the map as well. This is a nice little spot, actually, to morph in banes. It's right between a little bit of tall grass. So Serral does see a couple of units here. Nothing too crazy, though. Rogue just trying to dance here with a couple of the banelings. If he can explode any of them, that's obviously awesome. But Serral a little bit too good for that. Even with the ping. So that's a good trade right there for Rogue. 2 banelings for 2 banelings. It's going to mean that his Zerglings... Oh, God. That's a really good detonation right there for Rogue. Yeah, that means that his army right now can deal quite a bit more damage. Now, Serral did get his own Roach Warren as well. He's going to go for 2 spine crawlers over here inside of the Natural Expo. Okay. Baneling's not really getting great trades so far. Spine crawlers aren't done yet. Rogue, though, probably doesn't even want to go for the third base. No, he's just going to go for the throat right away. He's like, okay, you seem to be a little bit exposed right now. Spine crawlers, though, are finishing up. But those couple of baneling detonations and those good snipes right there on the opponent's banelings, it may have very well just cost Serral the game. Oh, my God. All right, well, there it is. Alrighty. And just like that, 10 minutes into a best-of-7 series, Rogue is already on match point. And would you look at that, actually, he's not adding on any drones. Looks to me like he wants to go for a spawning pool first on Glittering Ashes. This is another great example of what Rogue likes to do. This build, once again, on this map, really shouldn't make any sense. So Rogue has decided to go for a spawning pool at 12 on the map with the longest rush distance in the current map pool. So you can imagine, if you want to go for a build like this, something like Curious Minds, the map Curious Minds, would probably work out a little bit better, because the rush distance is like, what, 9, maybe 8 seconds faster to get across? And that, at this point in the game, is absolutely massive. Either way, Rogue is apparently going to go for a cheeky little all-in. Well, for the 3rd time in a row. So far, it's been working out quite well for him. Is he going to pull the drones as well? That's my main question here. So, he's adding on Zerglings. Check. There's a couple of different follow-ups he can do. He can also go for a hatchery here, but I kind of want to see him pull all of the boys as well, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, he's actually got them selected! Oh my god! Serral did go for a hatchery first. In most circumstances, I would call this a build order win for the Blue Zerg. However, it is on freaking Glittering Ashes. He's even sending the drones in a longer way of route. Okay, so he's dodging that first OV. He knows where that Overlord is supposed to be. So he took them on a little field trip around the Overlord scouting path. This is gonna show up absolutely unscouted. Serral has no idea that this is happening until the boys already show up right here inside of his natural expo. Still though, this is so late. So they arrive. Oh my god, Serral actually with a nice little cheeky scout there. They arrive at like the 2-minute mark. He'll probably build spines, yes. So 3 spine crawlers are already coming up. Serral's Zerglings though are already, yeah, they're already building. So it's not bad so far, but Serral obviously will need to shut down this shenanigans over here. He has no spine crawler of his own. That's what Serral, or sorry, what Rogue is scouting for right over here inside of the... Oh my god, look at that. He's got all of the drones stacked up together like potato chips. Anyways, it's like a, you know, like a box of Pringles. He is gonna try and fight this right now. Queen is out as well though. First spine crawler already cancelled. Okay, it looks like 2 of them will end up finishing, but honestly, there's so many drones right now still available for Serral. Rogue obviously isn't really mining whatsoever. There's a lot of larvae here as well for the Zerg player in red, so he's just pumping out tons of lings. Okay, here we go. Additional units are coming up. Queen over here from the natural also decides to just shoot away at whatever it can, and yeah, I don't think this is enough. No, this is not enough for Rogue. Okay, so Serral with some very clever micro tricks here does obtain the victory on Glittering Ashes. All right, Rogue. At this point, I'm just curious what kind of cheese you're going to be going for next. So game number 4, it takes us to Blackburn. Obviously a map that both of these players have played many times before. One thing we've actually seen many times as well. Okay, we're gonna go for a quick gas. Anyways, one build that we've seen a lot on this map is gold base first. That was actually, I think this was in the GSL. Was it the GSL Super Tournament? There was this crazy game of Zerg versus Zerg, where like, I actually think it was Rogue versus Dark. Was it Rogue versus Dark? I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, basically what ended up happening is that one of the 2 players took the gold, and the other player took the hatchery behind the gold, and then made spine crawlers right over here, which obviously makes the mining of the gold impossible. And then you can obviously continue mining from the other side as well, which was very clever play. So Rogue is gonna be going for that gold first, it seems. Okay, so he did, well, I mean, I say gold first. As far as first expansion goes, right? He did already go for the gas geyser and then also that spawning pool. Serral doesn't really have that luxury right now, but this is already not a good situation here for Serral whatsoever. Rogue doesn't really have a lot of workers though. This is a little bit awkward. So he's going for some very cheeky play. I guess he's gonna transfer drones there. Yeah, he just mined 100 gas. Huh. This is not a build I'm actually familiar with. So he just mined 100 gas, started up metabolic boost. Now he's finally going for a queen. When are we gonna make Zerglings? Are we gonna transfer all of these drones to the gold base and then pump out tons of lings? Is that really efficient though? Okay, Overlord even comes up right now. Normally if you go for an early spawning pool with early link speed, you also try and get the Zerglings out as fast as possible. Okay, so he's gonna transfer only 5 drones. Reason for this is probably the fact that, yeah, Serral is scouting this right now, so Serral sees the drones. Probably expects this to be a standard 16 hatch first. But it's not a 16 supply hatchery first. There was a spawning pool and a gas geyser before that as well. Rogue! You're playing some dirty Starcraft, my man. You know, I've been hyping up Serral and Maru a lot. Especially over the last month or so. They have looked incredibly strong. But there's no denying that Rogue is looking much better in Zerg vs. Zerg than Serral in the current meta. Like, historically speaking, Rogue has just got, you know, way more success with Zerg vs. Zerg, and Serral's always been struggling a little. And since Rogue obviously is such a legend as well when it comes to playing series, I mean, look at the builds that he's playing, right? This is awesome. It's really dirty, but awesome as well. He's one of the best macro players in the world. This guy has some of the best late game, like, genuinely. Once upon a time, he was playing only late game, and he was just trying to win, you know, by playing the macro game, but apparently the tables have been turned. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that even though Serral and Maru are some of my favorites going into IEM Katowice, the World Championships for StarCraft 2, don't forget about Rogue. Rogue's looking pretty insane right now. Alright, so here we go. Is there enough right now, though, for Rogue to actually break through this? I love that Evo chamber positioning there from Serral. That being said, the Zerglings now do get the wraparound right here. Queens are starting to fall as far as their HP goes, and now all of the drones in the natural expansion are exposed. And guys, just like that, Rogue ended up winning $10,000 in the TSL 8.